Steph Curry to Rolling Stone, HE double hockey sticks, yeah, I would have played with Kevin Durant again. Really, what did you expect him to say? After all, this is Kevin Durant.
You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
But just everything else Curry said about Kevin Durant trade request over the summer is super interesting, so we're going to take a deep dive into all of this. This is Topic Tackle. Let's go. What's good, people? JC3 here, and I'm going to be honest, I really don't like to ask y'all to like the video, and I've been refraining from doing that lately, but with everything I've learned about the algorithm and viewer engagement and all that stuff, it's really important. So I put my valuable personal time into making these videos for y'all. I'm the writer, the editor, the one who posts it. Everything you've ever seen on this channel has been all me, with God's help, obviously. I appreciate y'all for taking the valuable time out of your day to watch this, and I believe that this one can generate some great conversation. That's my goal around here, to present y'all with the story, present y'all with the facts, with different perspectives, break it all down, and get a discussion going about the content. So with this Curry story, basically, if you don't know, Steph is Rolling Stone's feature for their October 2022 cover story titled Stephen Curry is Putting It All on the Line. And while this article is broad in what it covers, there's interesting content on Kevin Durant that I want to zone in on. First, here's a timeline for y'all on this with some added personal experience that falls within it. Kevin Durant requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets on June 30th, 2022. This was a Thursday. The week that followed saw all kinds of news coming out. Reports that Durant was locked in on Phoenix and Miami as his top destinations. But around July 4th, which is of course the infamous day in 2016 that Durant announced that his next chapter would be in the Bay, news started to leak that the Warriors were exploring the option of trading for Durant. Now at first I'm like, wow, there's no way this could actually happen, right? Then the reality sets in that pretty much every team in the league who could assemble a solid trade package for Durant was going to explore the option. So why wouldn't the Warriors as well? Still, with how Durant tarnished his reputation with many fans by going to Golden State in 2016, with the way he left to have his own team and team up with Kyrie in 2019, many saw this news about him potentially joining the Warriors again via trade and thought,
That's not a thing!
But as Steph Curry reveals in the Rolling Stone article, it definitely was a thing, and it was seriously considered within the organization. And getting back to the story, it's for this reason that when I went to the American Century Championship at Edgewood in Lake Tahoe for the Celebrity Golf Tournament on July 7th, I saw Steph and legitimately wondered how many times people had asked him about potentially playing with KD again in the week since he had requested the trade. And when I had my chance to ask the four-time champion a question during his media availability that day, I had to ask about KD.
Wait a minute.
Wrong.
That's actually not true. I didn't ask him about KD. Can you imagine? I mean, that would have been like literally the worst timing. I mean, y'all gotta know that I'm smarter than that. Side note, if you want to see what I asked Curry, go ahead and check out the link in the description after this video, of course. Anyway, back to the timeline. So August 23rd, news breaks that KD rescinds his trade request after working it out with the Nets ownership and management. That leads us to mid-September and the Rolling Stone October cover story featuring Curry, which dropped on September 12th. Now again, the fact that Curry said he would have considered playing with Durant again should not be a shocker. Like, that's not a shocking thing to say, and yes, it's something that can headline an article, but really, what player is not going to say this? After all, the Warriors with Kevin Durant can be considered one of the most unstoppable teams of all time. They steamrolled through the 2017 playoffs, going 16-1, the best playoff record of all time. They were pushed to the brink by the James Harden-led Rockets in the 2018 Western Conference Finals, and yes, I know Chris Paul was out for games 6 and 7, but they played who was in front of them and got the job done in two must-win games, with Game 7 on the road to advance to the finals, where they made light work of the Cavs 4-0. And with all due respect to the Raptors, one quarter of Kevin Durant in Game 5 showed everyone that if he was healthy, the Warriors would have likely won that final series in 5 or 6 games. If any of y'all have a counter to this, I'd really like to hear it in the comments down below. So yeah, the Kevin Durant era in Golden State was nearly unbeatable as they never lost at full strength, which is likely a big reason why Curry and the Warriors organization entertained the fact of acquiring Kevin Durant through a trade, especially as the landscape of the West is set to change in the upcoming season. Barring injury, the Warriors will face a tougher road to the finals in the 2023 playoffs, with the return of Nuggets stars Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., and the Clippers return to the postseason with PG and Kawhi. Both of these teams feature many players with length, and that's always been an issue for the Warriors if you think about teams that have pushed them to the brink of elimination in the past. Specifically, the 2016 2016 Thunder, which threw length at the 73-9 Warriors that they couldn't seem to figure out until Game 5 when the 3-1 choke began. And in the 2016 Finals, when Golden State went up 3-1 themselves, the loss of Draymond to suspension and Bogut to injury made them a much smaller team than Cleveland, and well, you know the rest of the story. With all this in mind, it makes sense to consider welcoming back Kevin Durant, but at what cost? Should the Warriors actually have traded their team essentially for Kevin Durant? And that's exactly what Curry echoes in the article. He says, if anybody's saying that you wouldn't entertain that conversation to trade for Durant, no disrespect to anybody on our team, but you don't know how things work. But you also understand, like, if we run this thing back, I've got complete confidence in my team that we can win it again, as constructed. So all those things were true, and it started with me wanting to play with KD at the beginning. Yeah, it's about winning, it's about having fun, playing the game of basketball, and that was a part of the reaction. Like, yeah, it'd be amazing. What does that actually mean? A quick translation of that? It would be great to play with KD again, but I don't think it's worth blowing up our team over. All right, let's pause for a quick shout out to Rakuten, who is not sponsoring this video, by the way. They're just the #1 option for cashback with online shopping. I use Rakuten, whether it's through the website or the app, every time I shop online, and I have a link in the description down below. Now, I'm completely transparent. This is an affiliate link. I will get credit if you go to this link, but most importantly, you will get credit, because when you spend $30, you'll get $30 back, and whatever store that you're shopping at, depending on the cash back that they're giving right now, you'll get that percentage back as well. It's legit. I've used this for years. Think about it like this. Support my channel through the link by buying whatever you want online. That's a pretty good deal, right? Let's get back to the video. Okay, so what about the title of this video? Steph Curry on KD being better off playing for the Nets. Well, here's where I show you that is not clickbait, people, because the article details an event that Steph did at the Boys and Girls Club of Long Beach, California on a Tuesday morning in early August that was at Snoop Dogg's old gym. The writer of this story, Matt Sullivan, observed Curry discussing the trade market for Durant with Snoop Dogg and writes, Curry suggested that Durant had unrealistic expectations that his preferred destinations would retain superstar rosters despite Brooklyn's high asking price. Curry's now speaking, man, he thinks that he's going to go to teams like if he went to Phoenix, that they're going to be the same team if he's there, Curry told Snoop. Of the Boston Celtics, he said, they have a little bit of everything, but they would have to deal with the organizational transition to get rid of Jaylen Brown. He's such a pivotal piece. If they would have done that, Curry broke apart his fingertips in an explosion and agreed with Snoop that Durant was better off staying with the Nets. Now, what about Curry on KD being misunderstood? Well, when asked about potentially playing with Durant again, Curry said, I was never hesitant. The idea of playing with KD and knowing who he is as a person from our history in those 3 years, I think KD's a really good dude. I think he's misunderstood. I think he has had certain things happen in his life that hurt his ability to trust people around him in a sense of making him feel safe at all times. So all of those things, I understand having played with him and gotten to know him. I love that dude. Okay, so there's a lot here. Let's break it down. Now, I'm not going to claim to know everything that's happened to Durant that has potentially hurt his ability to trust people. To do such a thing would be irresponsible, as I don't know what goes on in the man's personal life. So I'm doing this from a completely outside perspective, yet from someone who's followed the career of Kevin Durant closely, there are a couple of situations that stand out. First, it's something that Colin Cowherd said after KD won his first championship in 2017. Roll that clip.
But people are mad now. They're resentful of Kevin Durant for his mobility and his lack of loyalty. So he gets drafted by Seattle. One of the richest Americans owns the team. Howard Schultz, he owns Starbucks. Howard, worth 10, 12, 15 billion, won't put in 300 million for a new basketball arena. Kevin Durant watches that. Then he goes to Oklahoma City. A little scarred, but he goes to Oklahoma City. This new owner's the best. And they trade James Harden because another billionaire wanted to avoid a luxury tax. Again, Kevin Durant saw an adult with billions squabble over millions for a small luxury tax. And then he watches his first and second coaches, PJ Carlesimo, Scotty Brooks, capable men certainly, fired with winning records. And again, the messaging to a young Kevin Durant is loyalty. What is loyalty worth? Then he watches Kevin Garnett leave Minnesota, LeBron leave Cleveland. And they're both rewarded. And Kevin Durant should be applauded because, like a smart kid, he watched the good things his parents did, or his peers did, or his contemporaries did, and he chose that path.
Now, Colin definitely ain't right about everything, but in this take, he was spot on. A couple of other instances in which KD's trust may have been hurt is when he had the blow-up with Draymond Green early in the 2018-19 season, and certainly words were exchanged about how much the Warriors needed him, and since then, Draymond has said that the Warriors absolutely needed Durant to win those titles, and yeah, that could be a recovery for what he said in the heat of the moment years ago. And then most recently with the situation in Brooklyn, I don't know if KD was ever on board with moving James Harden. I'm sure the Kyrie nearly a season-long absence weighed on him a bit as well. So yeah, in the public eye, there have been multiple instances where trust could have potentially been fractured between Kevin Durant and important people around him in the basketball world that leads to him being misunderstood when he does something out of the ordinary, like join the Warriors in 2016 or request a trade from a team that people thought he came to lead. All this to say, there's deeper roots here that we simply don't know about. All that factors into KD's career decisions, and I believe we have to be okay with not knowing everything. Who knows, maybe KD does a tell-all documentary at the end of his career to answer the unanswered questions about his career. He has his own media company with 35 Ventures. Something like this is not far-fetched from happening, people. Also, total side note, but if you watch the Stephon Marbury documentary, which featured 35 Ventures in the production credits, you'll see a player that was misunderstood and finished his professional career playing overseas. And this is something that literally KD has said that he considered to do to close out his career.
I really want to play overseas my last year.
Really? Where? What country?
FC
Like,
Barcelona.
what country? FC Barcelona?
Yeah.
You wanna go play in Barcelona?
I would. I mean, that's like the second best league in the world.
Yeah.
And the games look pretty fun.
Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm also not saying that it's a coincidence that 35 Ventures has production credits on this doc. So it's fair to believe that KD may see a bit of himself in Stephon Marbury, in my humble opinion. Anyway, to finish up Curry's quote where he says, "I love that dude" when referring to Durant, I believe 100% that his relationship with KD is genuine. There's this clip from Steph Curry's YouTube channel from a few years back. Let's play that.
You know what, though?
What?
The man next to you, though, I don't know where I be right now.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
But you know,
I still be trying right now, but I owe a lot to that man next to you.
Appreciate you, bro.
There's a well-documented, genuine respect between the two of them on the court and off that still exists to this day. So overall, this was a really interesting read with quotes straight from the source in Curry himself. And all that's left for me to do is ask you what you think in the comments down below. Do you think Kevin Durant is misunderstood? Why or why not? We'll be back with more Topic Tackle coming soon. Stay solid, people.